All right, y'all, let's get into it. Who are we going to talk about today? Eric Davis. All right, he is an astrophysicist. He works for defense contractors and has worked for the government. He's very famous in, UFO lore, right, in the UFO community. Most famously, he's probably known for this document right here. It's called the Wilson-Davis Memo, where basically he had a meeting with this Admiral Wilson and was disclosed that, Admiral Wilson had tried to get access, right, to these secret UFO programs in the late 90s, and he couldn't. He got denied access, and he was upset about it. So they had a conversation, supposedly in the back of a car, where Eric Davis wrote some notes down, right, and you can find that document online. It's been confirmed by Eric Davis that it's a real conversation that took place. Now, that doesn't mean that what's in the document is true, but he's saying the conversation took place, and Admiral Wilson claims it didn't. He denied it. But they basically admit to UFOs, aliens, crashes, recovered bodies, a lot of different things. So, I don't know. Kind of interesting, right? Well, that's what he's most famous for. Well, recently, they are holding a Soul Symposium right now. Okay? They did one last year, the very first time. What is the Soul Foundation, right? They're having this event where Eric Davis spoke, and he basically gave this statement that's going to blow your mind here. I'm going to read it in just a second. What is the Soul Symposium first, right? Or the Soul Foundation, I guess I should say first, right? Well, it's this. The Soul Foundation brings together experts from academia and government to address the philosophical, policy, and scientific problems raised by the likely presence on the Earth of UAP. And so basically, Eric Davis right now, this weekend, is speaking at the Soul Symposium. He gave a speech yesterday, and Matt Ford from the Good Trouble Show put up a statement that he made on Twitter, and I got some questions. I spoke to White House officials, chief executives, corporate CEOs, program administrators, executive assistants, people in charge of SCIFs and security, retired flag and general officers, accumulated weight at the other end by people who worked or were briefed or were exposed to those programs was irrefutable. It was very difficult to dismiss, and it literally took it from the myth of the published UFO literature at the time and has been a form of mythology to being to the level that there's a there. It's been pretty clear from people like Jim Lukatsky, a 4-star admiral, a general, 3-star admiral, a current corporate vice president, who either been briefed on it directly or have worked on it directly, that it is of non-human origin. It's very clear. There's no ambiguity about it. So basically, the first question you would ask yourself is, why isn't Eric Davis testifying, right? Why is he not testifying about this? This is insane, right? Why aren't we having people like this testify? It's just the first question I have to ask. Why can this stuff get said at the Soul event, right? The Soul Foundation Symposium event, right? I just don't understand. I'm so confused because, again, Eric Davis has been talking about this stuff a long time, right? And where he thinks we'll be in the future and stuff, it doesn't kind of line up. But maybe it's just things that get said publicly. But this is public too. It's a private event, but it's public. They're going to release videos about this. They've done that before. They did last year. So I'm just confused, right? Because listen to what Eric Davis said in 2012 on a kind of a game show channel.
Joining me now, co-editor and co-author of Frontiers of Propulsion Science and senior research physicist at the Institute for Advanced Studies in Austin, Dr. Eric W. Davis. Dr. Davis.
How you doing?
Welcome. How you doing? Now,
good, doing great.
Good. Glad to have you. I took one look at you and I said, this is a gentleman who can explain warp drive to me. You've got that look about you. Still, in 2012, we still have not put a man on Mars. What do you think is the importance of interstellar travel? Do you think that's still something we should pursue?
Interstellar travel is very important. Yeah, well, interstellar travel is very important because it expands the parameter space for exploration by 1 million times over the solar system. The solar system doesn't have any human-friendly planets other than the Earth. So we really are limited in what we could do as far as colonizing the other planets, open up some commercial mining and colonization programs that can expand our economy, add new jobs, increase our physics and astrophysics knowledge, increase our technology and things like that. If you go into interstellar space, the parameter space for all those things now becomes nearly unlimited. Don't forget that there are hundreds and hundreds of exoplanets that have been discovered, including dozens of super-Earths and a handful of Earth-sized exoplanets that are still being investigated at this time.
Right.
This gives us a bigger parameter space for being able to send man out to colonize new worlds, possibly even meet extraterrestrial intelligences.
All right. So, again, publicly, it's a whole different story. Now, granted, that's, 12 years ago, but still, right? What has changed between then and now? Because the OSAP program was in the late 2000s, mid-2000s, and he was a part of that. So he knew supposedly some of this information, and he knew the stuff that was in the Wilson Davis memo. I don't know. He also has a top secret security clearance, right, supposedly. I mean, I know he does. I don't know what level. I don't understand any of that. But regardless, I'm just confused, y'all. I'm just confused, right? That's the bottom line. Now, here's another clip of Eric Davis from 12 years ago as well, being asked about, wormholes and where we can be with that sort of technology. And this is more candid, right, at an event. And I feel like you'd get a more real answer here. But even then, listen to what he says.
Even a small particle of matter, through some kind of a wormhole device, do you think that we have that on the horizon in the near future, or do you think that's several years away still?
Oh, are you talking about actually implementing it, or just
even
negative effects of it?
Yeah, even in a test case, just kind of validating.
We don't know yet. I mean, essentially, standard traversable wormhole theory has no event horizons. There's no such thing, and if it's a stationary wormhole, it's not a time machine. So those things are not considerations in this case.
Oh, okay.
There's very specific, difficult ways of turning a wormhole into a time machine and worrying about horizons and going backwards and so forth and so on. Those require extreme movement of the wormhole, one end of the wormhole as compared to the other end in order to affect time dilation and things like that.
But
a standard stationary wormhole, it's just going to open up and connect two different regions across space together, and that's it. You go in, you come out.
Now, do you think
it's nothing any more difficult than what's been described by Morrison Thorne or Matt Visser in his monograph?
Yeah, but
it's very
difficult.
Stable, very sane, very an exciting type of a wormhole.
But difficult to produce, do you think? I mean, in a lab environment, given. Even for a small wormhole size, do you think it's possible to transport matter in the next few years, given current technology?
I don't know. Not given current technology. We're not there yet. We don't have the magnitudes of the negative energy in order to generate a wormhole that would be realizable. I think all we're going to do is look at micro wormhole development in the lab. We can maybe corral just enough negative energy over just a small enough period of time that we could see some kind of a measurable effect. It's only baby steps right now, and the technology is not. First of all, we don't have the technology to generate enough negative energy. We don't have a way of measuring it in the lab yet. We don't have a way of concentrating it in a place where you can then start shaping it into a wormhole. We don't have that yet. We're just getting started now with concepts of generating negative energy, thinking about it, implementing the first steps in the laboratory, and then evolving that technology forward to where we can then start worrying about the rest of it.
But once it does start to reach...
So, I mean, as far as... I was going to answer your question.
I'm sorry.
As far as in the future, it could be 30 years or more. I don't know. That's just a pessimistic view. Technology accelerates and advances in sudden abrupt changes every here and there. So you never can predict when things increase in time or decrease in time.
Oh, yeah.
So I just say, 30 years from now we might be possibly looking at being able to create a small wormhole in the lab and send a beam of particles through it. But that's the best I think we can do.
So again, what is going on here, right? What? I don't know why publicly now he's saying these things when I'm not sure what's really changed in the last 10 years, right? If the big stuff has already happened, he already knew about this. I don't know. I'm just confused. I just wish someone like Eric Davis would testify to Congress. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious to read it, right? Do you think Eric Davis, someone like him, should be testifying? And should he be allowed to say this stuff at events but then not testify, right? Has he been asked to testify? Has he denied wanting to testify, right? James Lukatsky said, I'm not testifying, who Eric Davis mentioned, right? Should these people be allowed to even make that decision? Shouldn't we be subpoenaing them? Is that a word? Right? Like, if the knowledge they earned was through taxpayer-funded, experiments, research, whatever, how do they even have a right to deny to come testify, right? This is all taxpayer-funded, the knowledge they have. James Lukatsky, Eric Davis, these people, right? This taxpayer-funded, their knowledge. Sorry, you need to come testify. So I hope there's some pressure put on them to do that, and we'll see. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.